You guys have done a great deal of research. You've worked with thousands, tens of thousands of children to see this is what works in this particular circumstances, this what isn't as effective.
Yeah.
And then there's choices within there, but I don't have access to all of that research in one place, except that I do with your...
You do now.
With your BIP Builder.
So basically what was done is that all evidence-based procedures that are known to work for a given function of a challenging behavior were put together into this program, where it will ask questions about the behavior and whether or not you want to include those particular options. And so you're not presented with options unless it's already evidence-based that it will work for that particular function of a challenging behavior.
And I've said before on the show that this year for IEP there was a BIP, that a BIP suggestion that somebody put out on our IEP team, and I sat down with your behavior intervention plan builder, and I took the same function that they had and I put it in, and I started to see and put the things that they put in, and the system warned me and said this has not been proven to these strategies would be more effective with this. And I was able to go back to the IEP meeting and say, no, where is your evidence base that this works, because here are the things that work. And everybody went, oh.
And the other thing, too, is that sometimes people use evidence-based procedures, but they jump straight to the more intrusive ones, or the ones that maybe use more of like punishment instead of reinforcement. So this builder, when it provides options to you, it tries to lead the user to pick the least intrusive interventions first.
Right. And it makes it so it's hard, if not impossible, for you to leave something out. Because when we used to have our talks and we would talk about things, and I would go through and I would ask you questions. I'd say, okay, so if a child was doing this and the function of the behavior was this, then how about doing this? And the thing that I remember over and over, you'd say, where's the replacement behavior, Shannon? Where's the replacement behavior? How are you expecting the child to just do something else when you haven't given them something else to do that fulfills the function? And it was just sort of my go-to for months that I would forget the replacement behavior, and your intervention plan builder doesn't allow you to do that.
Yeah, and it also gets you to put other things in place that will make the behavior less likely to even occur to begin with.
Right.
So we don't have to just use consequences all the time to teach children the correct thing. We get in before they engage the behavior. We teach them some sort of other way of communicating and provide tons of reinforcement for that and build that up to where maybe they don't even need to engage in the challenge behavior anymore, because we've made this other alternative communication much easier than whatever their challenging behavior was.
And certainly a good example of that, when the function of the behavior is attention, a lot of times one of the more effective ways of dealing with attention is to give a child attention before they give attention, seek attention in a negative way.
So you realize, okay, this child needs attention. So how often are they hitting me right now? And you could collect data on that. They hit me about once every 5 minutes. So guess what? If I give them attention once every 4 minutes, and I plan for that, it's in my BIP. Every 4 minutes, someone will walk over and just pat the child and say, how's it going? Or smile at them, something. Maybe we can avoid, oh, they're getting all the attention they need, they're good.
Right, very effective. And I think a lot of times people go, oh, every 4 minutes I'm going to have to give attention. And teachers will go, oh, how am I going to do anything? But eventually, over time, you can make that period of time longer and longer. It's amazing how effective that works. I've used that in the classroom, and it's very effective. Amazing product.
Can we put up the BIP Builder? The first slide has questions on it, so it just shows kind of like, you can see this is a large paragraph here, and it has a very jargony technical title, Antecedents for Escape, and it's written like this because this paragraph is actually explaining in layman's terms what that little jargony title means, and then it's asking the user, is this something you would like to include in your BIP? And then you as a user click yes or no. And then based on how you answer that question depends on what other questions you're going to get. So if you said yes to that, then it starts giving you options for different kinds of antecedents. And so the next one you see is demand fading. Again, jargony, but the paragraph underneath it explains what that means. Now what happens is, after a while, if a user uses this, and I don't think it would take that many times, they won't even need to read those paragraphs anymore. They'll see the jargon term and they'll actually know what it is. So guess what? We're inadvertently teaching people too what everything means, so they can start to throw it out in their IEPs. And
And can I be honest that
educated.
That really was my experience of the first time I looked at it. I was so excited to do it, and I went in, and the first thing that I saw, I went, oh, am I going to be able to do this? I don't think I know enough to be able to do this. And then, but I took a breath, and I read the paragraph, and I went, oh, thank goodness they explained it to me in a way that I could understand. So I will caution people that when you first look at it, the thought of it is intimidating, but it's all there for you.
But I like how the titles are staying true to the name so that they can go in and talk the lingo eventually. I think they'll be able to.
That made a huge difference when I went into the IEP meeting and said,
like, you can say, I want demand fading in my child's BIP.
Right.
And they might actually look at you cross-eyed if they don't have a BCBA on staff.
Right.
In which case now you have the upper hand and the power, right?
That's exactly the truth. And look, it's IEP season. We need every bit of power and empowerment. Really, because before, as parents, we sat there at the table and they would slide a BIP over at us and we would look at it and go, okay, I don't know if you say so. But this empowers you to know, is this something that's evidence-based? Is this something that has the potential to help my child?
And I really wish that it wasn't the case that parents had to actually know and be on their game and question what's being written. You would hope that experts are writing those. But I hate to say it, a lot of times it's not necessarily the most qualified people that are writing them. So this tool would be very helpful. Can we bring up the second slide? This slide actually shows what the VIP ends up looking like. So after you answer your yes/no questions, then it actually produces this report. And it says basically instructions as to what people are going to do. So an antecedent is just what are you going to do beforehand to try to prevent the behavior from even occurring. And then 3 options were chosen when answering questions, so you have your 3 options there of what you're going to do, and it's written in a description to tell anyone who's following the BIP what to do. And then there's little fill in the blanks, and the whole team can decide exactly what they want to put in those blanks.
Yeah, and I do love that it gives you a lot of options, but it really walks you down the path so that you're not alone.
Yeah, but in addition to all that, you have the ability to customize it, so you can add in your own text boxes if there's additional things you want to do, because not everything fits inside one box.
Yes,
we know that.
An amazing tool.
And you can rewrite it into your own words if you feel like the staff you're giving it to may not completely understand it, or you want to add something to it or whatever. So that's nice too, and then you can save it, and you can always go back and see your BIPs, and you can update them, or you can create new ones, and there's a file storage cabinet basically that they sit in.
And I have to say, one of the bits of advice that a parent gave on the show a couple of months ago is that once your IEP is done, and there's a place on the top of your IEP to check that the BIP is attached because it's been agreed to take that, print it off, put it in a sheet protector with the IEP on one side and the BIP on the other side, and give it to every single person who has interactions with your child on the team, because sometimes the school keeps it locked in a file cabinet.
And then no one's actually following it or even aware of it.
You know, oddly enough, sometimes that happens. But I thought, what a great thing to do at the beginning of the school year, to have it in the sheet protector and give it to the teacher. If there's an aide, give it to the aide, give it to the people on the lunch line, give it to the bus driver. And, you know, it ensures that everybody at least is informed.
Right.
And hopefully, you know, they're good people, and a lot of times they are good people at school, that they'll ask questions, and you can say, if you have any questions, please talk to me about this, but this is what we're following. It's a legal document. And, you know, because once it's attached to the IEP, legal document, they have a legal responsibility to follow what's on that piece of paper. Very, very important.
Exactly.
We've got a bunch of questions that have come in, and we also had a question about the skills. But before we go away from this segment, how do people get access to the Behavior Intervention Plan Builder?
Currently, this is one tool within the skills program. So
it's just a free element of once you have skills, it comes with it.
Exactly. So
amazing tool, Skills. We haven't even talked about the other things that Skills does. And you have a 15-day free trial for Skills that people can get. So if this is something they want to check out.
Yeah, it's 14 days free.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and so all they need to do is go to www.skillsforautism.com, and they can sign up for the 14-day trial.